The UFO thing, I think, would be something that I would want to pursue.
Yes.
I mean, just for my own
Oh my gosh.
personal information, I would want to know what is going on.
Correct.
So the question is, are these special access programs that are above top secret?
Thank God
and
for Nick,
that this
because
is our own
if
stuff,
he didn't exist, this fat
or
pig would be
is
tricking
this
so many more people with this slop.
that's far more
Totally.
bizarre and something that is interdimensional. From
Joe
another
always takes
planet,
the bait.
whatever.
Yup.
You fill in the blank.
Yeah, let's get off of Epstein here, and let's transition to aliens.
Foreign.
Ooh.
And if it's foreign, is it
Right.
6,000 miles away or like 6,000 light years away?
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And that is. I will answer that question eventually.
Really?
Yes. I'll get to the bottom of it.
How are you gonna have?
The government put out a memo telling us there were bug aliens like 2 months ago and nobody cared. Yeah, I saw. It was like Anna Paulina Luna, and who else? Yo,
Cope Master just gifted 100 kicks.
thank you for the 100 kicks. Yeah, it was like Anna Paulina Luna, and like a few other people. I forget all the other people involved, but yeah, there was like the plasmoids and like the grays and the bug aliens or whatever the fuck. Yeah, I do remember that. I don't buy it. And I do believe in alien life. But I think that this is all just like total fucking bullshit. I believe in genuine alien life. I think that there has to be other life out there. But I don't think that UFOs are real. I don't think that aliens have been here. And yeah, nobody like even really cared. Tyler, have you ever heard this idiom, let's blow this popsicle stand? I have. Yes, I have. Look at the stupid look on Vance's face. He's so happy that they're talking about alien slop now.
Time
Seriously.
to do that. Like, and what
Well,
would be what would that entail?
Eventually, I'll have like a few weeks where I can just sit down and worry about that problem.
You said something that I thought was very bizarre.
Here's an interesting thing, though. I will say that is one of those conspiracy theories that there are a lot of people in our government who are interested in this, meaning our current political leadership who are interested in this question. And it has, like, nothing has really happened yet, which makes me a little bit less interested in it. Because there are a lot of people with access to those files and access to that information, and nothing has changed since Biden left office, which makes me think other people have looked into it and they just haven't necessarily found something. But anyway, I eventually, I promise you, I'm going to like sit down and spend a couple of weeks trying to figure out what's in these files. I just haven't done it yet.
It got you.
You said
now
something
Peach
that I thought
Panther.
was very odd.
Okay.
You said that
This is one thing that I do think Vance is going to dangle in 28. And this is just like, I'm just kind of throwing this out there. Okay, I don't really have like too much evidence for it or anything. I just think it makes sense. I think that maybe there's some kind of like new like quote alien life. Whether that's maybe on Mars. Maybe it would be like a Dyson sphere type scenario. There's going to be like some little tidbit that Vance can be like, this is confirmed, aliens are real. It's not going to be like, here's an alien meeting with President Trump in the White House. He's among us. It's going to be like a little tiny thing that he can be like, it's confirmed, aliens are real. And he's going to, add that to his accolades. I kind of thought that Trump was going to do that, and then it's just been like bullshit ever since. So I think that it's going to be a Vance thing. But I don't think it's going to be, like, here's a real UFO that crash lands. It's not going to be anything big. It's going to be like Here's like a little organism on Mars. We have proved that aliens are real. You know what I mean? A Dyson sphere would be like world-ending level. I don't think so. I don't think that people would freak out at something like that because it's like it would be so far away. Bro, I got a Dyson in my house. Bacteria on Mars would still be huge. Yeah, like it. I think I'm not saying that it wouldn't be huge. I'm just saying like when people think of aliens confirmed, they think of like Roswell, right? You think of Roswell. You think of the 4chan post of that alien by the Joshua tree or whatever that always mysteriously gets taken down. Like, it wouldn't be like an actual, like, 5 foot tall gray alien or like a flying saucer. It's going to be like a little bug on Mars, or it's going to be, some kind of data that reads out way out in the galaxy. There's something that is unnatural, right? It'd be something like that. And then Vance can claim, like, I have uncovered it. I am revealing the government's secrets to all of you. I will be super transparent with everything else, right? It's going to be shit like that.
You thought that they were demons.
Okay, I did say that.
What did you mean by that?
Well,
Okay,
first of all,
hold it,
they're
cringe.
not just okay.
Okay.
You thought
I gotta
that they
get the
were
right
demons.
freeze frame.
Okay, I did say that.
Me cringing after everything that JD Vance says. That could be a good sticker right there.
Okay, I did say that.
What did you mean by that?
Well, first of all, there not just in Christianity, but in a number of world religions, there are a number of mystical things that happened, extra dimensional, extra. Like I'm not one of these people who's like a hyper rationalist. Like I think that there are things happening in the world that we're not always seeing. I believe in God. I think that there is a kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Not extra real.
Supernatural.
Supernatural. There are supernatural things that are happening. Okay. So if you look historically at things that are similar to the alien phenomenon, where some like strange being, it kind of looks like a human being but doesn't look like, but it's not human, and it shows a particular interest in human beings, and then it takes the human beings and does weird experiments on them. I think my argument is that's either bullshit, right? You're either talking to a crazy person, which I don't like. I'm not saying just because I believe in the supernatural doesn't mean I believe in everything supernatural. But if we're talking about an extraterrestrial being that is human-like but not human, that contains effectively infinite powers and is torturing human beings, you can call it an alien if you want, but I think there's a lot of historical precedent to call that a demon.
Well, a lot of these
knocks over glass
stories
clumsily.
and these accounts.
We have one right here on the
demonic
coaster.
Alien. Yeah, that's the mothership logo. A lot of these
whatever makes
accounts
sense.
are
Okay,
not
JD, whatever
of
makes sense, buddy.
people being tortured. They're people that are being exposed to information, like the Travis Walton story is a very famous case from
I don't
the
know this one. I'm going
1970s.
to read about it on the way back, though.
It's this guy right here. I got a Travis Walton bobblehead. He's one of the most famous UFO abduction stories.
Okay.
There's a movie with D.B. Cooper in the...
And what is the information that they gave Travis Walton?
Was D.B. Cooper that was the... D.B. Sweeney. D.B. Cooper was the guy who stole...
Yo, chat, check this out. Oh, from from an account I blocked. I wonder why I blocked that account. Must have been talking shit or something. Wherever he goes in Italy, this retired army general gets huge, enthusiastic crowds calling for remigration. His party is called Nacional Future. Futuro Nacional. I'm gonna sue him. I'm gonna fucking sue this wop. Stealing my shit, bro. What is up with that?
Italia, nazione, emigrazione. Italia, nazione, emigrazione. Italia, nazione,
Futuro Nacional. Tonight on Futuro Nacional.
El Rom.
El Rom.
The money and jumped out of the plane. Fire in the Sky. There's a movie.
Oh, of course.
from
Yeah, I remember this movie. I don't think I ever saw it, though.
1993. Good movie, but sensational. And Travis Walton says they made a bunch of shit up, and that's not what happened. But
Yeah.
the story was that he was a logger in Arizona, and he was leaving a job. They were all together in a truck, and these loggers saw this light, land in this forest, and they went to go investigate. He jumps out of the truck, and he gets close to it, and he's hit by some beam of light and knocked to the ground. They take off, and then they realize, like, we've got to go back. We don't know what's going on. Like, they turn around. They go back to get him. They're freaked out and panicked. They go back to get him. He's gone. The police interview them. They think that they killed him. There's an investigation. 5 days later, he shows up, wearing the same clothes, and he has this crazy story. And he had been in this spaceship for 5 days, is what he said, and that they had fixed him, they healed him, and then they had communicated with him telepathically, and he had this very bizarre encounter with these beings that aren't from here. Or if they are from here, they're very different than us.
Okay, so I guess my response to that would be extra powerful beings, in this case communicating telepathically, helping people. Sounds like an angel. So I guess
Right.
here's let me make the steel man version of my argument. It's that, okay, my dog, there's no real difference between me and God to my dog. I can literally walk into a room and turn the light on. I can make food appear instantaneously. I can transport myself across time and space very, very rapidly. If you're a human being with intelligence, but not supernatural intelligence, I guess my point is, again, this could all be bullshit. This could all be fake. That's a possibility. But if it's real, is there really a meaningful difference between an angel or a demon and a space alien with super technology? To our perception, they would largely just look like the same thing.
I think we're capable of nuance. We're capable of understanding that human beings are far more complex and evolved than chimpanzees. And we could imagine a world where if we don't blow ourselves up and there's not a nuclear bomb and we don't get hit by an asteroid, if we live another million years, that we would have technology that's indistinguishable from magic. Right?
Exactly. That's
Right,
exactly
but that
what I'm saying.
doesn't
And then we
mean
could
that
show
they're
up on another
angels and
planet.
demons. It just means they're hyper-evolved, advanced civilizations from somewhere else.
And what I'm saying is the perception of those beings to a more simple intelligence.
Sure.
There's not a meaningful difference. So you're like talking about what it is that these things actually are. And I guess what I'm talking about is, how would a human being with my level of intelligence or your level of intelligence in 2026 understand what's going on?
Right, but from a biblical perspective, there's a very big difference between a demon and a hyper-intelligent being from somewhere else.
You can just tell that he's just trying to get through this. Yeah,
a
he's
demon
trying
or a-
like not to sound like a total fucking idiot. Yup.
Hyper intelligent,
Well,
malicious.
if demons are real, if there really are dark forces in the universe, and they're disembodied dark forces, these things that exist,
yes.
and then there's also powerful light forces in
Yeah.
the universe. That they don't have to be mutually exclusive to the
They do not-
concept of
they d-
hyper intelligent
correct.
other species.
Absolutely.
When you're looking at an insanely vast universe.
I don't think they have to be, but I think that it is interesting to me that for most of human history, we would have understood supernatural, hyper powerful, hyper knowledgeable things as sort of celestial or celestial.
We would
is
have
actually a
thought of
terrible
a
word.
cell phone as being sorcery. I mean, that doesn't
Maybe
mean
it
it's
is.
sorcery. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just technology.
Yeah, he's really struggling with this,
that
huh?
argument doesn't make any sense to me.
Well,
And this is not discounting the possibility of demons or discounting the possibility of angels.
well, I guess I understand your point conceptually. I don't actually disagree with it. So I don't think we're saying something different. That, metaphysically, there could be two separate things going on. There could be there could be extra Earth, outside of Earth, space aliens, and there could also be angels and demons. These could be two totally separate things. One could be true and not the other. I totally concede and agree with that point. I guess what I'm
bad
saying
in the face is the sticker where he's looking up.
extra Earth, outside of Earth, could be celestial. There could be extra totally separate things.
Where?
Outside of Earth, space aliens, and there could also be angels and demons. These could be two totally separate things. One could be true and not the other. I totally concede and agree with that point. I guess what I'm saying is
Right when Joe cuts back to him.
could be something different.
Or discounting the possibility of angels.
Well, I guess I understand your point conceptually. I don't actually disagree with it. So I don't think we're saying something different. That, metaphysically, there could be two separate things going on. There could be there could be extra Earth, outside of Earth, space aliens, and there could also be angels and demons. These could be two totally separate things. One could be true and not the other. I totally concede and agree with that point. I guess what I'm saying is it's a distinction that is conceptually interesting to me, but if a space alien with like superhuman technology comes to the Earth and has malicious intent, I don't know how I'm supposed to tell the difference between that and a demon.
If they have malicious intent. But I mean, isn't that also the case
He's
with
super nervous.
visiting
Yeah, he's-
people, right?
He's drowning right now. He can't even like explain what the fuck he's talking about.
You could have a country and you get visited by the Peace Corps,
Yo, what's up, Minto?
or
Okay, I
you
gotta
get
pee.
visited by pirates.
Key break.
Yeah.
One
You know,
sec.
and are the pirates demons? As the Peace Corps angels?
No, but I think we're talking about something much different. I mean,
Are we talking about something different, or are we talking about a hyper advanced version of that?
We're talking about. I mean, as I understand it, we're talking about things that exist outside the United States. Outside of the Earth. Okay. And two
Perhaps.
different types of beings that could exist outside. I mean, okay, maybe
There's a lot of people.
Yep, who
Tim
think that they're-
Burchett thinks that they're here.
there's Atlantis or there's something else
Well,
like
that they're somehow or another they're survivors of a long gone civilization that live under the ocean.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
just as
here-
kooky as living in
here's
space.
Here's the way I would put it is like there's also a difference between a demon and a ghost, right? These things are two very different conceptual things.
Right.
But if I'm a human being and I meet a malicious ghost, maybe I think it's a demon, and maybe all I'm saying is maybe there's some point at which the conceptually interesting, this is such a weird conversation, at which point the conceptually interesting discussion of what it is separate from how it appears to me and how I'm going to understand it as a human being in my particular social and cultural context in 2026. But if you're looking for me to concede the point that there is something different or could be something different between an angel, a demon, a space alien, a supernatural but non any of those other things beings, yes, I concede that.
Yeah, the question is, what does what do these special access programs like? What is the information that's available? Like, how?
My understanding
according
is
to
that it's
David
basically-
Grush and a lot of these other people, that there have been crash retrieval programs.
Okay, and I've talked to Dave before. I think I called him actually after he was on your podcast. So there's like the crash retrieval stuff of whether that's real or not, where is it, et cetera. There's the videos, right? There are all of these videos, some of which have been released and declassified, that seem to me show some pretty weird stuff. And then there might be other pieces of evidence as well. I'm not saying there is or isn't. I just don't know. I try to keep an open mind about this stuff. All I'm saying is I'm fascinated by it. I don't have like some secret sauce, at least not yet, that tells me what's true and what's false. I'm just saying this is something that I'm interested in, but it doesn't. It's because it's like anything in life. Where do I have to figure this out this week? No. So I'm going to do the things that I have to, like negotiate with the Iranians and try to get this bill passed.
So let's imagine a world where the Iranian negotiations go swimmingly. Everything's
God
done.
willing. God
you
willing.
know, all these Gulf Arab states decide, hey, let's invest money in Iran. Let's change hearts and minds. Whew. Okay. Avoided a gigantic apocalyptic scenario. What could be done? Like, if we have information,
Well, I
like,
think it's
who has this information, and why are they holding on to this information? And what do you know the Hal Puthoff story?
No.
So Hal Puthoff, who used to work for NASA, said that he was brought in during the Bush administration, where they were proposing disclosure, and they were saying. This is what they were saying. They're saying we have biological remains and we have physical crafts. We're proposing disclosure, and they brought in a bunch of thought leaders, different disciplines, different schools of thought, and they said, "I want you to compile a list of pros and cons and put a numerical value on how this is going to affect society, how is this going to affect religion, how is this going to affect government, how is this going to affect economy, all these different things." And when they compiled this list, every one of them had more in the con than in the pro, and they decided against disclosure because of that.
JD getting
Now, if
one-shotted
that's the
by
case,
Joe's Are Aliens Jesus
what
question.
are we talking about? Like, who has this?
was the part that I missed, was it even worse? He's crumbling. Holy shit, our vice president is retarded. Damn.
Information, and what is this information? I mean, if that wasn't just a thought experiment, if they weren't really just fucking with these people, which I don't understand why they would do that, but let's assume what is known, and why would they prevent that information from getting out?
Well, that's a big if.
Have you seen the movie The Age of Disclosure?
I've not.
Okay. Well, a lot of people, including intelligence officers, different people in the government, are in this documentary. And one of the things that they're saying is part of the problem with all this is if they have had these programs going on for so long, that means they've been misappropriating funds and they've been lying to Congress. So all these people that were involved in these programs.
I've heard this argument. Yeah, I've heard this argument. Yeah.
So Lou Elizondo and all these other people have said, look, what we're going to need is mass amnesty for people that are involved in this. It's the only way you're ever really going to get to the bottom of it. The problem with that is if you've got unlimited money and you've got misappropriation of funds and lying to Congress, I guarantee some of that money has gone to places it shouldn't have gone.
100%.
Like it always does.
Yeah. So, like, it's always very hard to engage in these, like, super generic, super general, I should say, hypotheticals because, you know, like, yeah, if look, we've got remains of space aliens and we're hiding them, then there are a million possibilities for that. What would explain it, how it would have happened. I am skeptical that's true. And the reason I'm skeptical that it's true that we have the physical remains is not because I don't think that's something that, like, is physically possible or that the government's willing to do and able to do a lot of crazy stuff in our history and the history of all governments. I am skeptical of the competence. I actually made this point to Dave when we talked, and I think he's a very interesting guy.
Yeah, I don't buy it for the very simple reason that it would have credibly leaked by now. And this idea that there's that would imply either some super rich old billionaire is behind it all, or some super loyal cutout of the government that's been passed down through generation. When you get into that, so there's too many moving parts. I just don't think it's real. I don't see any way that it could be real. I don't buy it because there's no reason for a highly advanced civilization of aliens exist to hide themselves from us when they could easily destroy us. Yeah, they're just going to be flying around and then they're going to hit a flock of birds and then crash their flying saucer. Yeah, nah, bruh. I don't really think that's how it works.
So I don't mean to insult him or say I disagree with him about everything, but I made this point to Dave when we talked. It's if we have literal space alien remains in the custody of the United States government, there is no way that wouldn't wouldn't leak out in some way.
Well, it has leaked out anecdotally.
Well, I guess that's the counter.
By absolutely insane people. Any of these leaks, it's not credible. What's that one that was super viral? What was that one radio station? The guy called in and he's freaking out, I only got 2 minutes to tell you this. Who was that guy? Area 51 radio call. Art Bell. Yeah, the Art Bell thing.
Fine, you're on the air. Hello.
Hello, Art.
Yes.
Hi. I don't have a whole lot of time.
I saw this when I was very young. I was in elementary school. I was into all the conspiracy stuff as a very young kid. I saw this when I was in elementary school and I was freaked out by it. Obviously now you can kind of tell, and I'm pretty sure it's been a while since I've heard anything about Art Bell, but I'm pretty sure that it's just proven that he was faking some shit. It was just entertainment for conspiratards. I listened to old Art Bell at the time, or all the time while I drive at night. Do you? What was it fake? I mean, I forget a lot of this shit. Was it I'm pretty sure that people came to the conclusion that, I mean, this is obviously fake, but I mean a lot of these calls were just fake. Because this happened more than once.
Well, look, let's begin by finding out whether you're using this line properly or not.
Area 51.
Yeah, that's right. Were you an employee or are you now?
A former employee.
Former employee.
I was let go on a medical discharge about a week ago, and I've kind of been running across the country. Oh man, I don't know where to start.
And they're gonna get me right now while I'm live on air.
They'll triangulate on this position really, really soon.
So you can't spend a lot of time on the phone. So give us something quick.
Okay. Okay. What we're thinking of as aliens, Art, they're extra-dimensional beings that an earlier precursor of the space program made contact with. They are not what they claim to be. They have infiltrated a lot of aspects of the military establishment, particularly the Area 51.
Vance watching this being mind blown straight up.
The disasters that are coming, the military, I'm sorry, the government knows about them, and there's a lot of safe areas in this world that they could begin moving the population to now, Art.
But they're not doing anything.
They are not. They want the major population centers wiped out so that the few that are left will be more easily controllable.
Discharge.
And then bro just like cuts out. And this happened in what, the 90s? I think that this happened in like the early 90s or like 92 or 93, something like that.
We'll have a make an entire day of the Hunter Biden collab! A slumber party! Popcorn, gripesicles, gripe juice, they whole
True, Florida Groiper. We will be doing that. We will be doing that, Florida Groiper. Don't you worry, buddy. Where was I going with the whole alien thing? Yeah, just like everything that traditionally has been about, whistleblowers when it comes to Area 51 or just aliens in general. It's always fucking bullshit. There's been zero, like, even remotely credible
Imagine
cases.
Florida at your house for a sleepover.
I don't want to imagine. And even with like all the UAP stuff that they released, I just don't. Why can we not just have a video? If it's so real, if Anna Paulina Luna thinks it's so real, if JD Vance thinks it's so real, Tucker Carlson, whoever else, how about they just release like an actual video of it instead of just being like, there's fucking plasmoids and bug people, and here's a black and white grainy IR video of a black circle moving across a plain white background. You know what? Like, it's all bullshit. It's all bullshit.
What is aliens being real prove? Like, the government lies. Go figure.
Yeah, basically. Basically that. It's so obviously fake, but my question is, why are they faking this? It could be like a control thing. Project Bluebeam. Yeah, I think that it's just like a very convenient distraction. I think that it's a very convenient distraction. And I think that it could really just be as simple as that. That God doesn't exist, that could be a factor in it too. Although I feel like there's other more effective ways of them destroying Christianity than trying to like replace it with alien atheism type shit. But that could be a factor as well.
Yeah,
but I think it would
do you know
leak
the
out
Nixon
more
story?
than
the Nixon
with,
Jackie Gleason story?
No, I want to hear that, but like with cell phones and every way that we have, like it's plausible to me you could hide that in an era where you have to have a giant camera the size of these antlers in order to take a photo of something. But dude, I can take, like you have cameras now that are like literally this tiny. That's the part that I'm skeptical of.
Okay,
that
but
we're hiding that.
Let me push back against that, because
Okay.
you know that if you have any sort of top secret, like if you go into a skiff, like there's no way you're bringing cameras in there.
Okay.
You're look, when I came here to this podcast studio, they had a dog
And it's
check
your-
my
and it's
truck.
your- and it's your
they had
studio?
to pop my trunk. Yeah.
Okay.
Like I'm gonna blow up my own studio.
Yeah, but okay. So
You know what I'm saying?
But the counter argument though is they check that stuff on you. They don't check that stuff on everybody. They don't-
everybody here they did.
everybody here. But
Yeah,
I'm saying
so, but
there
if
are,
you're go- if
all
there's
you
a
need, all you
place-
need is one official with like the highest security clearance. Now, okay, you're right. Certain devices like emanate signals that they can pick up on Bluetooth and all that shit. But like,
But to have access to go into a room where they have these things,
And no
if they
one-
did have these things, I guarantee you they're going to make sure no one's got anything. They could easily scan
Who
you
would have it if it's not like the government?
to make sure
You know what I mean? It's like, I'm thinking back to like these old Area 51 documentaries that I watched as a kid, and they'd be talking about how, like all these workers, they get bussed in from this local town, or they get flown in on like the Area 51 plane every day from like Las Vegas, right? And like you're just telling me that like none of these people ever said shit. I think that they're working on, aircraft, military weaponry, classified stuff, but like, yeah, like it would have to be a private entity if this were the case.
That you don't have any kind of electronics, any kind of camera, any kind of recording device. That's not hard.
I mean,
especially if you've got something squirreled away at Area 51.
In the next 2.5 years, we're going to run this experiment because I got 2.5 more years as VP. And I swear to you, if there are little green men, like body remains,
text me, please.
Well, I'm not going to text. No, I'm not going to text you. I'm going to try to smuggle a camera in and get a photo of these things.
Well, how would you?
You're the vice president.
Vice President of the United States of America have to have a camera smuggled in to do that.
Well, maybe I wouldn't. But again,
because bro was just talking out of his ass. This is all just like a distraction. It's all just like hey, we're hip. We like aliens. That's all this bullshit is.
Who that girl in your Twitter banner is asking you to take off her song in your playlist?
You should have been there. Who's asking you? They can come ask me. Why are we doing like telephone? You should have been watching Future Nation. I don't know what to tell you.
Do you think that you have the kind of authority? Like, look, let's imagine you find out that at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base they have some secure facility somewhere.
It was I'll just answer it, dude. It's just like this small indie artist named Daisy with an I. She's from Chicago. And I found one of her songs on TikTok and I added it to the playlist. And then she DM'd me. This is like months and months and months ago. And she sent me that DM on Instagram.
Maybe it's not there. Maybe it's maybe they've kept it under wraps. Maybe it's in the mountains somewhere.
Yeah.
And you find out that this thing exists. Do you think it's as simple as you could just go out and tell everybody? Or do you think that you get briefed on the implications of what would happen if you disclosed all this
Dude, it feels like this alien segment has been going on forever. I'm tapping out. We're also over 2 hours into this. Damn, we only got like 40 minutes left. I don't even know if we're going to get through this before Nick starts. How long have we... Yeah, 5.5 hours. I did like an hour of just like yap before this, so we've spent like 4.5 hours on this JD Vance thing. That's crazy.
Well, I would definitely get briefed on the implications of what would happen.
And they would probably tell you, hey, you have to bullshit people.
Yeah, but dude, I'm not.
You're not going to bullshit people?
Well, look, I have many skills as a politician and some vices, but like one of them is I'm just not a good liar.
Well, then they're not going to show it to you. You just fucked up. You just fucked up on this podcast by saying that.
What I am
show
telling
it to
you,
the ladies on The View.
That's right.
The intellectual leaders of our
trust
world.
me, they show it to the ladies of The View. It will be said 2 hours later. Anyway, I am like,
maybe
again,
they show it to them just so that no one will believe it.
I do want to look into this stuff. I'm just telling you, I have not yet seen the evidence that we have. Certainly extraterrestrial remains, but there's a lot of stuff before extraterrestrial remains that's also interesting. Like the flight patterns in some of these videos are super weird.
Well, the Commander David Fravor stuff is bananas. It goes from 50,000 feet above sea level to sea level in like a second.
To what people say, right? Like, because one of the arguments I've heard, for example, is, could this just be a visual lure on the camera or something like that? Okay, that sounds to me plausible. I'm not an expert in cameras, but then what the pilots, their reaction to it, it's not like they're looking at a visual lure on a camera. It's like they're looking at something else that's really, really weird and difficult to...
Okay, the lights are starting... Dude, I'm going dark mode. I don't even care. Dark mode time. Oh my gosh, it's so much better. My eyes are not frying. Oh my freaking gosh. We are going dark mode. And we are dark
Where the
mode.
hell
We
did
are
Tyler
officially dark mode.
Explain, given what they know about physics and aeronautical engineering, etc. So anyway, I am fascinated by this, but I just don't want to tell people like, oh, I've uncovered the truth, or I haven't, because I haven't looked at it yet.
Right. Well, I would, if I was you, that would be the first thing I did. I'd storm right in there and go.
Let's talk about
"What do
tax
you got?"
policy.
Is that what you want to talk about?
No,
we could talk about tax
this
policy.
is way more interesting.
I would want to know. I mean, I think the world wants
fake
to know. I think it
laughing
would
is really
fundamentally
getting to
change
me.
our understanding of what it means to be a living organism.
Okay, what do you think? Like, what is your you know more about this than I do?
I don't
What do you
think we're
actually
alone.
think? But okay, fine,
I don't think we're
agree.
alone. I just don't understand what it is.
Okay,
I don't know if it's.
so you don't have like a strong view about what it is. You're just
I don't have any.
curious.
I don't have any data, right? So I don't have any proof. So I believe Commander David Fravor. I believe Ryan Graves.
Yeah.
He was a fighter pilot that said that when they upgraded their equipment on these fighter jets in 2014, all of a sudden they started seeing these things that were staying completely motionless at 120 knot winds, and they were a cube inside of a sphere, a black cube inside of some sort of
Well,
A black cube. They're seeing the black cube.
okay, so this is I know you've talked to Eric Weinstein.
Yes.
And I haven't talked to you about this lately, but one of the things that Eric sort of kind of persuaded me of a couple of years ago was
It's Weinstein. They get very sensitive
okay,
because
sorry,
of
Weinstein.
Harvey.
Okay, got it. Eric Weinstein. Good thought. Speaking of pedophiles, well, I guess Harvey wasn't a
guess he
pedophile.
wasn't
He had many sins, but not that one.
Candace Owens says he's innocent.
Interesting. Okay.
Or not guilty of everything that they said he was.
So, okay, Eric Weinstein, this is probably 3-4 years ago, persuades me of this actually. It's an interesting theory. His argument is, in the same way that I would say, what's the difference between...
Dude, I gotta unfollow Fresh and Fit on Rumble. I'm so sorry. I like Myron, I like Fresh and Fit, but oh my gosh, whenever they go live, I just get fucking spammed with 6 gazillion notifications, dude. I don't know what they do, but it's like... I literally get spammed a bajillion times in a row. It's insane. It's absolutely nutty. Okay, there we go.
An extraterrestrial and an angel or a demon, depending on its intentions, from the perspective of a human in 2026. His argument would be, what's the difference between a space alien and a human being, but just a human being with super advanced technology, right? Mm-hmm. And so I don't know if this is still his view, but he kind of was, he was like, let's say you had human beings who just were super scientifically advanced. Like what we know of the laws of physics, as I understand it, is that light speed is sort of the upper limit of what one of our spaceships could travel. Okay, you can't go any faster than the speed of light. Well, that's a problem because everything else that could support of extraterrestrial life is many light years away. Okay, so his argument to me, again, back in the day, was if you figured out a new physics in the same way that you had an understanding shift from Newtonian physics to Einsteinian physics, if you have a new understanding of physics that allows you to travel much faster than the speed of light, you could just have human beings either from a different planet, or maybe they went to Mars and started their own civilization, and then that got old, and they, at this point, they are many millions of light years away, but they can move through space and time in a way that is quite literally like divine from our perspective, or space aliens, but they're just human beings.
Well, it could be human beings from the future.
If time travel is possible, why?
But it also we know that life exists
so
on Earth.
True, Joe
So
Rogan.
if life exists on Earth, Earth is a planet. There are hundreds.
He's such a bad communicator. It's wild. He is. Yeah, he's really stumbling.
Billions of planets. We have no idea how many planets there are in the known universe that could potentially support life. And if these things live on these planets and they live far longer than we have, like if you showed a nuclear bomb to someone from 100 years ago, they would say that's the craziest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. You show them a reactor, show them a cell phone,
absolutely.
show them that television.
So it's like my dog with a light switch, right?
Just to be able to FaceTime someone in New Zealand. Like what is that? What are you doing?
That's right.
Now advance that forward 1 million years. And
That's right.
then, instead of using propulsion, you are instead manipulating space-time.
That's exactly right. And one of the things I've talked with Elon about
imagine
this.
if they smoked weed with us, dude. Do you think that JD Vance does smoke weed? I could kind of see it. Next Joe Rogan appearance, JD Vance is gonna smoke a massive doink, gonna hit the fucking blunt with Joe Rogan just like Elon Musk did.
Is obviously a super smart dude, but I've never heard like a super satisfying answer to this. One of the things that worries me, like I want humans to be a multiplanetary species. I want us to go to Mars and set up a colony, and like that's sort of
okay.
I
That's
love humanity. I want it to continue. And
I do love that. I know whenever anybody brings it up, I can't help but talk about it. I love the idea of space exploration. Like, we better get that. We better have that within my lifetime. I need to see, like, the aesthetics of us being a multiplanetary species. Yeah, it's Starfield coded, dude. Exactly. I want the NASA punk. I want to be able to go to Mars, take a little vacation on Mars. Like, I need that within my lifetime.
And the problem with space travel that I've, again, not heard a satisfactory solution to is, when we're outside of the Earth's gravity, our genes, like our actual DNA, seems to not function as well when it's not on Earth-style
You'll
gravity.
never be a space pirate.
Right?
You'll never haul a space freighter. You'll never have a sexy alien
So whenever
waifu.
you have somebody who goes to the International Space Station
Yes,
for
we
like 3
will.
months or 6 months, and they come back and they
We
are
will have all
totally
those things
jacked
and
up
more, T.
because like literally the cells in their body are starting to like discombobulate in response to a low gravity environment.
Right.
We have to figure out a solution to that problem. That to me is sort of the most interesting part of space travel, of going to Mars, of setting up a colony on another planet, is if you set up a colony on Mars, but and what it takes you like 2 years to get there and 2 years to get back or something like that.
Right.
But in that time, you've gone from a functioning adult, healthy, to like dead.
Right.
If you're in space for 4 years, that part of space travel is very fascinating to me, and I don't know that I've heard any satisfactory solution to it yet.
I don't think conventionally there is a satisfactory solution, but if you're talking about manipulating space-time and not traditional propulsion,
you probably can figure that out.
You could manipulate, you could essentially contain this environment in exactly the same way it is, and travel to somewhere else with that environment. So this is the idea of them living under the surface of the ocean.
I see.
Like, how can they live in the depths of the ocean? Well, because they have a completely contained environment.
Sure.
I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
It's all just nonsense.
Maybe they figured out how I can eat like steak and Grater's ice cream and have the blood profile of eating, chicken and salad.
I don't think chicken and salad is the way to go.
I know you don't.
I'm a steak guy. I think
so am I.
Just eat a little bit of ice cream every now and then. By the way, ice cream is one of the very best desserts for you because it contains fats.
Because it's got a lot of fat and protein.
Yeah,
that's right. That's right.
A little bit of sugar, but it's all it's a moderation thing.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
anybody who doesn't want to eat ice cream is a communist. There's nothing wrong with ice cream. Ice cream. Speaking of communists,
the Democratic Socialists of America. That's actually what they do at their events. Is they throw the ice cream into the Boston Harbor instead of the tea.
Yeah, those.
Okay, very good.
Fucking people scare me. I'm really concerned that people think that's a good idea, and that they think that socialism just hasn't been done correctly. That
Correct.
drives me nuts because I think a lot of like really well-intentioned, really kind and empathetic young people think that that's the way to go. And I do not think they understand the dangers of this ideology because it always leads to one thing. It leads to a very powerful military government that controls the population. Period. End of discussion. And if you play it out, it is literally the only way they can get people to give up their money.
Yes.
It's the only way they can get them to give up their property. And when you're hearing like Mamdani talk about freezing rents and taking bad landlords and then confiscating their property, you're like, this is step one of what's happened in every
Communists
communist
are not
dictatorship
people.
throughout history.
Yeah.
This is what
So
happened in North
true.
Korea. Give the government the land, and we'll make sure that no one ever has to worry about food. What a great idea!
Yeah, man.
Look how it turned out.
So I don't know who said this, but the whole argument of communism is that you seize the means of production, but because the means of production, the most powerful means of production is the human mind, you ultimately have to get into totalitarianism. You
Yes.
have to have control of that most fundamental element of the human person.
You also take away motivation.
Correct.
And there's a
Correct.
thing that
Now
people
here-
don't like, which is
Oh
extreme
my
wealth.
gosh.
But you have to understand that if it wasn't for the motivation of extreme wealth,
Yes.
you would not have an iPhone.
So
You
here's
wouldn't have these things.
okay. So here's let me give you my my Christian answer to this, and it's a good plug for my new book, Communion. Finding My Way Back to Faith.
Not to be confused
Available.
with Whitley Strieber's book Communion, which is all about aliens.
Okay.
Did you know that?
No.
He wrote a
Interesting
book-
coincidence, Joe.
Pull up the
Interesting
cover of
coincidence.
Communion.
Pull up the
Pull up the cover
of the Good
Whitley
Communion that I want all
Strieber's
your listeners to buy.
The problem is, you didn't know about this book.
I
would
did
have
not.
told you to
Awkward
come up with a
plug.
different title.
Seriously, I should
That's
have told
Whitley
you.
Strieber's book.
Oh,
And then
there we
look at
go.
yours
Okay,
right
so
next
we
to it.
want
See?
that is wild.
And then there's another
Okay.
one, My First Communion. It's about,
Okay,
yeah.
that's like a kid's book. But yeah,
cute,
we
yeah.
want people to buy the second one, the one that says JD Vance on it. But
Yeah.
okay, so this is one of the things I talk about in the book is like there is a Christian idea of
Holy
political
awkward
economy
plug, dude.
that's actually been lost in American politics, where it's like we think of it as libertarianism, the hardcore free market versus socialism or communism. And there actually is a third way that has existed in pretty much all Christian economic thinking going back 2,000 years ago, which is that, yeah, extreme wealth inequality does create problems, but you still got to have private property. You still have to have a state that protects private property rights, and there's a way to balance these things that I think we've sort of lost in our country a little bit. And when I like, okay, let me play devil's advocate with the DSA because I think that their ideas are crazy, and I think that you're right.
Interesting that he's bringing up the third way type of shit.
It will lead to a very totalitarian place. I'm not defending
Yeah,
a single
third position, vice president, third position.
thing that they say, particularly their hatred of ice cream. what I am saying is, and maybe this is just sort of the way my mind works. I tend to be a little bit more empathetic. Why are young people attracted to socialism in 21st century America? One of the best interviews that Charlie Kirk ever gave, it was right before he died. It was an episode that he did with Tucker Carlson where he talked about the fact that if you don't give young people a stake, if you don't give them ownership, if you don't give them a sense of the American dream and of possibility in the future, they're going to become socialists. Like if you have a
Yes.
zero-sum environment for a 25-year-old in this country, they're going to start to say the only way for me to get anything is to take away from somebody else. So we have to get away from like the zero-sum thinking. I think that's like the root cause of this. But I also think that, look, we've ran an experiment in the United States of America. And, I think that we have undone that experiment, taken it a different direction in the Trump administration, where ship all the factories overseas and let low-wage foreigners make our stuff. That was a bad deal for American workers. Again, it takes a long time to reverse that trend, but I think it's one of the best parts of Trump administration policy is you do see that trend starting to reverse. This idea that nobody should own anything, we should all become renters, whereas what we're trying to do is lower interest rates. You actually have seen housing costs stabilize in the country over the last year and a half.
Holy
frankly,
cap.
because of immigration. We had way too many people going after way too many homes. You close the border. This is one of the reasons why rents and housing costs have stabilized a little bit. So I think that unless you go down that pathway of allowing young Americans to own something, socialism is the inevitable outcome.
Was that the first time? Ugh, sorry, I mid yawn. Was that the first time that he's brought up immigration this entire interview? I'm pretty sure that it is, right? Trying to think back. I'm pretty sure that that's the first time that he's touched on immigration this entire interview.
Think that's good? No. But I really do worry, and I see this, frankly, more in my own party than I do on the other side. There is this revulsion to socialism that's totally justified without
No, we
enough
just talked
thinking
about aliens
how
in the
did we
last
get
hour.
here in the
Yeah,
first
true.
place.
Right.
And if we don't fix that, and I would say if we don't get back to a more Christian sort of understanding of economics, socialism is the alternative. Like that is where this goes.
Well,
if people don't
think
own
the
anything,
game is rigged.
exactly.
Yeah.
And in some ways, Joe, the game is rigged.
Yes.
Yes. If you look at, again, I think so much of housing because, this happened. I think it was during the presidential campaign. Maybe it was right before. But I was talking to some family members over Thanksgiving, and just a sort of a younger friend of my wife's. They were like 5 or 6 years behind us. They were just about to get married, and this young woman, successful engineer, makes a higher salary than most Americans. She just
Atlas with the host. What up, Atlas? Hope that you had a good stream, buddy. Shout out, Atlas. Let's freaking go. W Atlas. All of his Indian family members, true. I wonder how far he's gonna go with this. I wonder how far he's gonna go with the whole third position thing.
sort of like tossed out there that, when her parents' generation was coming up, it was like possible to own
Rose
a
going
house
Yarvin
and
mode.
to raise a family and not be worried that much about things. And my thought was, okay, you're an engineer. You make way more money than 75% of people your age, maybe 90% of people your age. And you think that it is like this ridiculous, unachievable objective to have literally what your parents had, which is a decent job, a nice house, and a safe place. Like at that same dinner, like another friend of my wife's was talking about this. And he, South Indian family, grew up, his parents immigrated. He was born and raised in San Diego. And he was like, when I was growing up in Oceanside, this is like a suburb of San Diego where there are a lot of Marines live in Oceanside. It's close to Camp Pendleton. So when I was growing up, all of my, like the kids that I played with, that I rode bikes with, that I was, playing street hockey with and football
for the
with,
crowd.
all of those kids were
Atlas
the sons
Sun.
of enlisted Marines in Oceanside, California. And then we went and looked at like Oceanside, California rents. Again, this is a couple years ago, rents and housing prices. Like every house was north of $1 million on the street this guy grew up in. And enlisted Marine, frankly, most Marine officers could not afford to buy $1 million house. So like, does the socialism thing scare me? Yes. Is it the wrong solution? Yes. But one thing I try to persuade my fellow Republicans of is socialism is the alternative if we don't have a pathway to give people a sense that the system is not rigged and that the American dream is attainable. That's like our job. That's what we have to do. I'm not saying Rome was built in a day. It's not going to be easy to undo some of these economic trends. But man, we ran the experiment. We ran the experiment of offshoring all of our industrial jobs, of becoming a services and finance economy, and allowing Wall Street to come in and buy every asset of modern life and turn it into an investable, line goes up asset. And what has that done? It's created a generation of kids who kind of are attracted to socialism. We have to fix that problem.
Well, kids that do feel, and you're correct, and I agree with you, the system is rigged. Kids feel like there are no options other than to burn it down.
Yes.
And that's the problem.
And
because they feel
that's
very frustrated.
That's the only option. That's the only option left on the board. And we see it because we're in the thick of it.
This is part of our job, is to provide an option that isn't burn it down, but is not just doing the same things that we've done for the past.
They're also
40
terrified
years.
about the future because of AI, because
Correct.
they feel like jobs are going to be taken away, and there will be no place for people that have education in very specific avenues. Like very specific jobs are going to just be irrelevant.
Yeah.
They're going to be completely wiped out by AI.
There
Shrouded
is a
in
huge fear
darkness,
over
Tyler
this. So
Russell gives the
Let me
order.
kind of give my own spin on
Go
this.
forth,
Yeah.
Russellians.
I was talking to a CEO, not of an AI company, but of a tech company, and he's one of the few CEOs that's sort of right of center. And I was like, well, what do you think? Do you think AI is going to come and take all the jobs? And his basic take was the real historical analogy is the Industrial Revolution. And, did the Industrial Revolution displace or change a lot of jobs? Yes. It also created a lot of jobs that didn't exist before. So he was like, my concern here is not that 50% of Americans are going to be unable to find a job. There will be some displacement, some sort of churn in the labor market, but that's not the main issue. He said the main issue, if you go back to the Industrial Revolution, is that there was a lot of demand for workers, but the inequality in the country got completely out of whack. Like this is the era of the robber barons. And then the robber barons in both Europe and in the United States led to fascism. It led to communism. Again, to this point about giving people an option. If you don't give them a good option, then it leads to fascism and communism. Now, there's this fascinating encyclical written by Pope Leo XIII. I'll send it to you. It's one of the best things that I think has ever been written by a Christian leader, where it's written in the late 19th century. And the basic argument of it is that in the age of industrial churn...
Who's the rich right of center tech CEO he was talking to? Dude, it could be like so many of them at this point. There are so many tech CEOs that switched over to MAGA. And, they're just like liberals, but they're considered like center right now because they're MAGA. Alex Karp. I mean, it could be Alex Karp. It could be Palmer Luckey. It could be Mark Zuckerberg. It could be Google CEO guy, Indian dude. I forget his name. It literally could be like anybody. There are so many Silicon Valley people that switched.
There has to be a middle way between 6-year-olds working on the factory floor and socialism. And part of that solution is to give workers a sort of say in what's going on. Give normal people some power in this system. And I think that's the thing we have to figure out with AI. I won't say that I have all the solutions because I haven't, but I think the fundamental question is, how do you ensure that normal people have some control over this? Control over what's their kids are seeing, control over the economic forces that are being unleashed by AI, some certainty that they're not going to wake up in a world where they can't buy a home, but some other guy owns 35 mansions, right? That to me is the fundamental challenge of AI. Is it's going to unleash a lot of wealth creation, but if that wealth creation all goes to some segment of people, you're going to have communism. Like that is the choice before us. Is a lot of wealth being created. That's good, by the way. I like wealth being created, but if you don't ensure,
you know what? I'm gonna say this. Nick said he's live. Is that real? Is that true? Is that a truc? We'll be doing AF and gaming tonight. So if that's true, then was it on Telegram? It was. Okay. We didn't get all the way through. We can finish this tomorrow. Yeah, we got like another 20 minutes. We almost got through it all. We spent a lot of time on that, but there's lots to talk about. The Peter Thiel experience. Second top comment, number one top comment. Peter Thiel, hey JD, go check on the DMT guy. JD Vance, friend of the show. JD, I've thought about this a lot, Vance. LOL. That's funny. I'm interested to see what Nick's going to say about it. Okay, let me go like this. Yo, I'm so dark. I am so dark mode right now. That's crazy. Let me set this up. Let's go like this. We will be doing AF in gaming. Okay, boom.